Introducing Elevate Twin Jet Adhesive, a two-part LVOC low-rise polyurethane adhesive packaged in portable, pressurized canisters, allowing extrusion of Part 1 and Part 2 canisters for ISO board, PVC XR, PVC Key XR, or Ultraply TPO XR membrane adhesions. In this video, we will show you how to prepare and apply Elevate Twin Jet Adhesive. At the end of the program, we will show you how to clean up and properly dispose of the used materials and containers. Each Twin Jet adhesive kit comes with Elevate Twin Jet Spray Adhesive Part 1 and Part 2 canisters, Twin Jet hose and gun, Twin Jet mixing tips, Twin Jet extension tubes. Before use, canisters and contents must be brought to temperature between 70 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Apply Twin Jet adhesive to the substrate when ambient and substrate temperatures range between 40 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. When not in use, store in original unopened containers between 60 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit until ready for use. Applying Twin Jet adhesive requires basic PPE, gloves, and safety glasses with side shields. To set up Twin Jet, first remove the hoses and gun assembly from the Part 1 carton. You will use a new hose and gun with each set of Twin Jet canisters. Next, remove the Part 1 and 2 canisters from their cartons. Shake both canisters back and forth 30 times to achieve the proper mix. Replace the canisters back in their respective cartons. The cartons will help stabilize while in use and storing the canisters. To connect the Part 1 hose, first insert the red-striped red hose through the hole in the side of the carton, and attach the swivel fitting, only finger tight, to the valve outlet on top of the red Part 1 canister. Tighten the fitting using the supplied 9/16 inch wrench. Only a small turn is required, about 1/6 of a turn, to firmly seat the fitting. Be careful to not over-tighten. Close the lid of the box to help protect the fitting and canister. Repeat the process to attach the clear hose on the Part 2 Twin Jet canister. Prior to attaching the mix tip to the gun, apply the supplied lubricant to the black O-ring on the gun. Place the mix tip over the O-ring until you feel it lock into place. Extension tubes may be attached to the mix tip for ease of application. To ensure proper dispensing of both parts of the adhesive, it is important to flush the hose of air. It is recommended to dispense a small amount of adhesive until the flow is appropriate for application. Let's take a look at how to use Twin Jet to adhere a layer of 4x4 ISO boards to a mechanically attached ISO base layer. Prior to installation, the substrate must be clean and free of foreign material such as grease and any debris that may inhibit adhesion. To begin application, turn both valves to the open position. When not in use for more than 30 seconds, remember to close both valves. Apply Twin Jet on the substrate in 1 1/4 inch beads spaced maximum 12 inches on center or as specified to meet wind uplift requirements. Using an extension tube on the gun will help create well-formed beads of adhesive. Keep in mind that you must set the top layer of ISO when the adhesive has properly flashed off. Depending on the conditions, that may be only a few minutes. Do not apply more adhesive than you can cover in that time. Once the adhesive has flashed off, set the ISO board into place and secure them with weights, such as 5-gallon pails that weigh about 25 pounds. Use 4 pails per board. Keep the weights on the board until the adhesive sets, usually for 10 minutes depending on conditions. When you are finished with applying the adhesive, turn both valves to the off position. If there is still adhesive remaining in the containers, you can save it for use later on the project. Leave the hoses attached to the containers. Remove the used mix tip and set it aside. Next, clean the end of the gun exit ports with Elevate Splice Wash. Apply fresh lubricant to the black rubber O-ring on the gun and the exit ports, then reattach the old mix tip. The dried adhesive in the old tip will seal the hose and keep the remaining adhesive in it fresh for use later. Let's take a look at how to use Twin Jet to install Elevate XR membrane. You can use Twin Jet on either Elevate PVC XR or TPO XR. Unroll and position the membrane per installation guidelines, allowing the membrane to relax for a minimum of 30 minutes. Once the membrane is relaxed, carefully roll back the first half of the membrane to expose the substrate for twin jet adhesive application. Be careful to not move the membrane from its final intended position. Do not butterfly large areas of roof membrane during adhesive application. Apply twin jet adhesive to the substrate at the following rates. Bead application. Apply twin jet adhesive on the substrate in 3/4 inch to 1 inch wide beads, spaced maximum 12 inches on center. Spatter application. Spatter twin jet at a rate of 60 to 70% coverage over the horizontal substrate and 75 to 85% at base tie-in locations, 2,200 to 2,350 square feet per canister set. Apply twin jet adhesive to the substrate only. Do not apply twin jet adhesive to the roof membrane. Keep lap areas of XR membrane clean and free of twin jet adhesive overspray. If you do, remove any areas of adhesive before welding the seam. Allow the adhesive to flash off before rolling the membrane back into position. Depending on the conditions, that may be only a few minutes. Do not apply more adhesive than you can cover in that time. Once the adhesive has flashed off, carefully back roll the membrane onto the adhesive. To initiate adhesion, use a stiff bristled broom and apply downward pressure to broom in the installed membrane across the width of the sheet, working from the center toward the edge. Once the membrane has been broomed, roll across the width of the installed membrane with a weighted roller to ensure full contact with the substrate. Once the first half of the membrane is set and broomed, roll back the second half to expose the substrate for twin jet application. Once you've reached the adhered half of the membrane, continue to roll back the membrane to expose some of the adhesive. This will allow a smooth transition into the newly adhered second half of the membrane and avoid a wrinkle here. Apply twin jet adhesive to the substrate as you did previously. Allow it to flash off and then roll the second half of the membrane into the adhesive. After the membrane has been rolled, check the adhesion by trying to peel back the edge of the installed membrane. Let's take a look at how to dispose of twin jet canisters and excess material. You'll need to empty and relieve all pressure in the canisters prior to disposal. To do that, open the valve, turn the canisters upside down, and empty the adhesive into a trash bag. Once the pressure is relieved, punch out the button on the canister using a non-ferrous punch to avoid sparks and a potential fire risk. Dispose of the canisters, hose, gun, and waste adhesive in accordance with local, federal, and state regulations. You can send the canisters to a metal recycler once they are emptied. Thank you for watching this Elevate Twin Jet Adhesive installation video. For full system installation instructions, see our YouTube channel and refer to the Twin Jet Application Guide, Elevate Technical Information Sheets, and installation details available on our website, www.wholesomeelevate.com. Please reach out to your local Elevate representative with questions.